This video is presented by the EA Creator Network. I have received some of the Sims 4 packs for free. Thank you to the EA Creator Network. Hello everyone, JSimLady here. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I am redoing this little apartment in the Spice District in San Myshuno from the City Living expansion pack. I cannot see the name of it myself right at the moment. You can probably read that in the upper left hand of the screen. But you know the one I'm talking about. It's interesting. The default apartment here when you get the game, it's interesting. It's awful. It's terrible. It's realistic. The floor plan is very realistic to real life. I can absolutely see a big city apartment being laid out that way. Mostly because they don't have a choice but to lay them out that way, often because of the way the plumbing, heating, and or electrical are set up in older buildings. There are only so many things that they can do to the layout. Luckily, this is The Sims 4, and we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So, the potential for this apartment is there right from the beginning. I just don't think it was fully realized in its default form. I love the front of this apartment that faces that little plaza area, I guess you would call it. And I think putting the bathroom at the front is such a waste of space when you could have the living space, the places where you spend your most time, or where your Sims in this case spend most of their time, being at the front of the apartment. So that's pretty much what I do every time, is get rid of the bathroom. Typically, I put the bathroom at the back of the apartment. That's what I did in the last two versions of this. I put the bathroom at the back of the apartment. In this case, and I think because I'm just getting better and better at this as the years go on, in this case, I was able to fit two bathrooms in here really easily and still have two good-sized bedrooms. So I put one right in the middle, which can be used for the second bedroom or guests, or when you're in the main part of the house. And then I gave the primary bedroom its own private ensuite. And yeah, I mean, I can't say I love the layout of the other, because the other two versions of this that I did more or less generally the same sort of layout. This one's significantly different, but also kind of not. And I can't say which layout I like better, except that I do like moving the bathroom out of the front of the apartment. That, for this apartment, that is my number one must-have, is getting the bathroom out of this front area. Because this whole big front area is so much better as being kitchen, living room, kitchen, dining room, living room, or generally what I've done in the past is all three as one giant great room out here. And then usually I only do one bathroom in that case. In this case, I changed it up a little bit and I gave more room to the living room and dining room space. Added, as you can see there, a little computer area and then a little entertaining area on this side. And I just made the kitchen a small little off the main part room, which you can kind of see there with the white flooring through that door on the right side of the screen there. That's the kitchen. It's a small kitchen, yes, but it's a very functional and nice kitchen for the overall size of this apartment, and it leaves room and stuff for having 2 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, a much bigger dining space where your Sims can actually entertain and stuff. So yeah, I guess I just talked myself into loving this layout even better than the other sort of layout that I generally use for this apartment. I do love this one. I think this one turned out really nice. It does also help that it's been a year since I did the last one. So we have a lot more kits, especially, but also expansion packs since I did that one. But certainly since I did the one 4 years ago, we have so much more content now. That definitely helps. Sometimes a build in The Sims 4 isn't bad, it's just lacking stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm not one to love cluttering up everything. I don't feel the need to have every surface have a bunch of stuff all over it. I wouldn't call myself a minimalist, but I also would not even remotely come close to calling myself a maximalist either. However, I can see that, say, this version of this apartment versus the very first one that I did 4 years ago, this one looks better because it has more stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there's just more of everything in it. It's more fleshed out and full, and it actually looks like people are living in it and using it rather than just a basic house for Sims to keep their needs up in while you do other stuff in the game, if that makes sense. So yeah, definitely in that respect, I definitely love this one more. Just because it has more stuff available to it to decorate with than, say, the very first one had. You know what would be cool is to go back and take that original layout, because I basically more or less used the same layout in the other 2 versions of this apartment. I just changed the decorations and stuff inside. I think it'd be cool to go back and just add more furniture and stuff in now that we have more packs and see if I could love those older versions as much as this one with the added stuff in them. You know what I mean? So typically with this apartment, I set it up with or for a family in mind. This time I decided to go with roommates instead. So in my mind, the first sim that rented this apartment is the musically creative type. They're I wouldn't necessarily call them eccentric. They like bright, fun, happy things. As you can tell, their apartment is decorated predominantly in yellow. So the yellow is maybe their favorite color. They are a non-binary sim who just likes happy, bright, colorful things, and they're very musically inclined. So that's kind of the story of the sim that was in my mind as I was decorating this. I don't always need a sim that I'm decorating specifically to, but I do find that when I'm struggling to make a build, such as this case, I haven't been able to do a lot of builds recently because I just didn't feel inspired to do a lot of builds recently. Having a particular sim in mind is just really helpful for me when I'm trying to especially decorate a place. Maybe not necessarily build like the layout and stuff, but definitely with the decorating. Obviously, I think having a specific sim or in real life person in mind and what they would potentially like and dislike would help a lot with the decorating. So, I mean, I feel like that's an obvious thing. And so that's why sometimes I tell you the story of the sim that I'm picturing when I decorate. I used to not, because I used to feel awkward about sharing the kind of sim that I'm picturing in my head when I'm decorating the space. But I learned over the years that people really enjoyed hearing the story of the sim that a space is decorated for. So, again, in this case, it's a non binary sim who is very musically inclined, but also kind of artistic and loves being really creative, and that is expressed through bright, colorful surroundings that just inspire and promote creativity, music wise, for sure, definitely, but also in other ways in other parts of life as well. If I'm being fully honest, I did get a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of my inspiration from a musician that we recently took our daughter, my boyfriend and I took our daughter to see in concert, called Cave Town. Our daughter has loved Cave Town for years, since she was little, and we thought as a late birthday, early Christmas present, we would take her to see her favorite musician in concert. And I gotta say, even though I'm not the targeted demographic of his music, I really enjoyed it. I think his music is good music. I think it speaks to, what am I trying to say? It tells a good story. Is that what I'm trying to say? Not really. But also, it's not about teaching lessons. I guess I would go with the it tells a good story. Um, he's a very good storyteller with his music. And so I felt very inspired by that. And I kind of took some of that inspiration and put it into this build. Though my sim is not really based on Cave Town, uh, I got my sim from a variety of different places, but the decorating and the sort of feeling that I was trying to put into this space with the primary bedroom here, I tried to tone it down a little bit, have a little bit of a little bit less of the bright yellows and pinks and stuff like that, and I brought in more of the blues to make it a little softer and a little quieter and a little more subdued. But I found the perfect bed that does still incorporate a little of that yellow and pinks and stuff in here as well, because I don't want to completely get rid of them. I just want to tone it down and make this more of a relaxing space rather than an inspiring space. So that's kind of what I went for with that bedroom. But I did go back to doing a lot of yellow in the bathroom, which you'll see here in a second. I don't put a lot of effort into the bathrooms in this apartment, but for this bathroom, I basically just did the few accessories that I did put in here in yellow to bring back some of that yellow at this end of the apartment. So there's that. And then the second sim, the sort of secondary renter in my mind. So this sim for this bedroom rented the apartment first. They were here, but maybe their music isn't doing as well or their art isn't selling as well lately, and they needed to take on a roommate or whatever. For whatever reason, they needed to take on a roommate. Their roommate just happens to be a very princessy, pink, all the frills kind of sim. And this is her bedroom right here. It even has pinkish purple lighting in it at the end. She's just your typical girly girl, but she's more of a little bit of a almost wallflower type. Do we describe people that way these days still? An introvert. She's more into reading or sitting quietly at the back of a club, just enjoying her friends' music rather than being out dancing and partying and that kind of stuff. She just is your book loving princess girly girl, I guess. And so that's kind of how I decorated her room. I feel like these two Sims get along really, really well, even though at first glance they would seem like almost polar opposites because she loves, again, all things very girly and very, like frilly and fluffy and that kind of stuff. And the primary renter of this apartment, they like all things bright and artistic and creative and like music related. So at first glance, she's very quiet and reserved and into quiet hobbies, and they are more, I guess, I don't want to say loud because not all music is loud necessarily. It's not like hard rock music. They're more into folksy indie music. So it's not loud, but it is louder than book reading. You know what I'm saying? I think they still get along really well, anyways. I think they're really good friends, and I think that they really enjoyed sharing this apartment space together because their styles actually mesh pretty well together. She likes having all the pinks and stuff around, and they like having all the bright inspiring yellows around. And we are finally on our last room, which I did in blue because it was easiest. And there you have it. Let's get into the walkthrough. Hopefully I explained these Sims really good and did a good job at it. But anyways, let's get into this walkthrough now. So, we enter the front door in the weird, bad hallway. Maybe someday I'll download Tool Mod and in the save file fix a little bit up here and there. But yeah. Right to the right of the front door is that big, great room for entertaining. It's got the living space, the dining space, the bar, the little computer area, bookshelves. You know, you basically can do it all in this room, except for the cooking, so it's not a true great room because the kitchen is not in here. But like, it's basically a great room because you can do all the entertaining right in here. Right off to the back side of this room is the little kitchen. Again, small but mighty. It's still a great kitchen. You can still do quite a bit in here, even though it's kind of on the small side, right? It's a good kitchen. If you go back through this big main room and into the hallway entryway area, it's very yellow, very bright. We have the basic blue bathroom here, both for the roommate and for guests. You can see that bright, happy yellow hallway again, and then the girly girl bedroom. very reading book oriented, and then just frilly and fluffy and all things pink and purple. And then we go back to this Sim's primary bedroom, the primary renter of this apartment. Very heavy on the blues, very subdued and calming, but still those pops of yellow, and then their yellow bathroom. And there you have it. It's a simple and small, but actually huge apartment. And I think it turned out really, really nice. I enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I am enjoying it. I think it's gorgeous. So, with that said, if you enjoyed this video, if you're enjoying my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.